What would you like to say to those folks? JoAnn and Allan Thomas have stood by their story that they did not commit any crimes. How you doing, Mr. Thomas? Anything to say heading in? At JoAnn Thomas's sentencing last month, her refusal to admit responsibility earned her a 3-year prison sentence. Today it was Mr. Thomas's turn to face the judge, and he received a slightly shorter prison term, 30 months. U.S. Attorney Nick Brown says the prison time is deserved.
Well, I think first and foremost, he was a public official. So this is both a kind of a fraud case, but also a matter of public corruption.
During trial last summer, the Thomases presented themselves as humble dairy farmers who were only guilty of shoddy records keeping. But as we revealed in 2019, the Thomases turned the public drainage system that they managed on behalf of taxpayers into their own cash cow. Are you using the taxpayers' money accordingly?
Oh, yes, it has to be. We go through the state auditor and everything's office, so we keep our books up very tight.
Allan Benny Thomas was the longtime elected commissioner of the Drainage District, responsible for the oversight and maintenance of 18 miles of trenches that prevent flooding in and around the city of Enumclaw. After our initial stories, state audits and a federal investigation determined the Thomases spent nearly $500,000 of the tax dollars collected over 8 years on hay, equipment, and other supplies, personal expenses on their dairy farm. Now that the Thomases are heading to prison, the United States Attorney's Office is making a push to recover the $468,000 lost to taxpayers. Are you trying to get every penny back?
Certainly, when we charge the case, we charge not only the criminal counts, but we also account for the loss amount and the restitution that might be available, and we will try to pursue the full amount.
So, Chris, Thomas got a 30-month sentence, shorter than the 3 years that his wife was sentenced to. Explain that.
Yeah, good question, right? He's the public official in this case. Well, there's 2 reasons. Mrs. Thomas was convicted of 5 more counts than her husband, 15 in all. She had additional identity theft and fraud counts because she's the one that cooked the books in this scheme. And also, she has a prior drug-related conviction, and even though it's a couple decades old, the judge said that factored into his decision.